For 400 years, the Korthik Valori cipher stood inviolate. Mathematicians called it a perfect lock. They were wrong. In the diplomatic cafeteria of the Galactic Library, a junior Earth linguist studied a lunch menu.
The translations are sloppy. The Gormak term for broth actually means fermented sediment, but that footnote, that decorative border, it looks like a cipher. But it's structured like a language, not a mathematical function. No one thought to treat it as grammar. Phonemic positional alternation, just like Etruscan religious texts.
She began to scribble, her fingers tracing patterns no one had ever seen. The cipher, it whispered to her in a language only a linguist could hear.
It's a greeting. Welcome to the Galactic Library. They put it there as a joke.
3 centuries of cryptographers had stared at that cipher. None of them had grown up speaking 3 languages by age 6. Beneath the unbreakable mathematical veneer, there was only a language waiting to be read. An alien code was unbreakable for 400 years. A human linguist solved it over lunch. 24 hours earlier, the human cultural exchange vessel, Erudite, docked at the Galactic Library.
Every species here speaks in ciphers of their own making. I am just here to listen.
The Korthik Valori Joint Encryption Protocol, Sophia, is a mathematical masterpiece, utterly unbreakable.
Unbreakable? Every code is just a language that forgot its grammar.
The conference is a formality. Earth's role is to smile and take notes. That's why they sent a linguist, I suppose.
Maria would see the patterns. She taught me to see languages where others saw silence.
Truth be told, I didn't choose you. The invitation came from way above my pay grade. Made me bring you.
Above your pay grade? That's unusual. I assumed I was the cheapest option.
Sophia felt like a piece on a board she couldn't see. But the library itself was a puzzle she meant to read, and on the first day's lunch menu, a decorative footnote waited.
Here, Reyes. Review the cafeteria menu translations. Something to keep your hands busy.
Abuela always said languages have a rhythm. Even the silent ones have a dance. Etruscan script looked like decoration until I found its phonemic patterns. This feels familiar.
Sophia opened the menu file and began her trivial task, her mind already tracing older, deeper grooves.
The Gormak translation is wrong. The Valori term is archaic, but the decorative border, it's too structured.
To a mathematician, it was noise. To a linguist who grew up with 3 languages, it was a whisper.
There's a phonemic alternation here, a positional shift, every 7 glyphs. This isn't decoration.
She hadn't come to break codes, she'd come to read, and the footnote was very loudly calling her name.
Let's see what you are really trying to say.
3 centuries of cryptographers had never listened. Sophia Reyes was about to do something far more dangerous. She was about to pay attention. Sophia's mind overlaid the glyphs with Etruscan religious scripts, the same phonemic dance, the same positional alternation.
Subject, object, verb. The markers pulse on every 7th glyph. It's a grammatical heartbeat, just like the Mayan calendar, cycles within cycles. The cipher is not hiding meaning, it's performing it.
18 minutes ticked by on the cafeteria chronometer. 3 napkins, covered in angular script, bore witness to a quiet catastrophe.
Welcome to the Galactic Library. They printed it on a menu. They dared anyone to read.
She stood, napkin in hand, and walked toward her supervisor as if carrying a live fuse.
Reyes, I am busy cross-referencing protocol wording. If this is about the soup.
Dr. Harris, please. Test this sequence on a real KV-JET transmission. Just one. I think the cipher has a grammar.
Harris hesitated, then entered the decryption sequence into the hollow terminal. The military-grade cipher began to writhe on the display. The red lock icons flickered, then died. Clean standard text bled through the classified headers. Plain, readable, undeniable. 4 centuries of mathematical genius had just been undone by a linguist and a lunch break. Harris snatched her wrist and marched her from the cafeteria, terminal still glowing with the decrypted output.
Emergency protocols are in effect. Whatever you saw, you did not see. Follow me and stay silent.
He sealed himself inside the comm booth and left her standing in the corridor, her napkin still clutched in her hand. The signal bounced across 3 relays before reaching Earth's intelligence hub. Wei Chen read the header twice.
KV-JEP protocol compromised. Source: a linguist from the Cultural Exchange. Are we reading this correctly?
With a single keystroke, Chen pushed the report to the director. The entire floor fell silent as the screen updated.
I just want to go home. Was it really so wrong to notice a pattern?
The door opened hours later. Harris stepped in, his suit rumpled, his eyes hollow with the weight of classified urgency.
Reyes, listen, you've done nothing illegal, but you've stumbled into a security matter that goes beyond this station.
It was just grammar. Why does it feel like I've broken something priceless?
The hollow call flickered to life inside Earth's deepest intelligence hub. Analysts' faces snapped into view, their voices a storm of urgency.
If we exploit this without notice, we become the threat they feared. But if we tell them now, we lose the only advantage a human mind has ever given us.
The argument tore around her. Exploit. Disclose. The director silenced them with 2 words. 14 days. A countdown timer bled onto every screen. 336 hours. The greatest intelligence window in human history had just swung open.
It's not a bug. The cipher was designed by mathematicians who never learned to speak without thinking. Language was their blind spot.
Chen ran the linguistics report again. Sophia Reyes hadn't cracked a lock. She had revealed that the lock was built on grammar the aliens didn't know they had. For 2 weeks, Earth would read every whisper between throne rooms, every secret beneath the stars, and the galaxy would never know.
This isn't code breaking, it's code speaking, and we just learned their mother tongue.
The timer clicked to 33, 5 hours, 59 minutes, and 47 seconds. Earth began to listen. In the silence of that room, the weight of 400 years settled quietly onto the shoulders of a linguist who had only wanted to read the menu. 2 days after returning to Earth, Sophia sat in her university office. The napkins spread before her like unfinished business.
The pattern won't leave me alone. It's like finding a new verb tense in a dead language. Once seen, it demands to be named.
She opened a new document and titled it Phonemic Substructure in Constructed Cryptographic Protocols.
I'll frame it as a theoretical exercise. No mention of the KV-JEP. Just a linguist's curiosity about how alien minds might encode meaning.
It's a solid analysis, but keep it abstract. Don't mention the sample source. Publish in the Linguistic Society quarterly. It'll be filed away quietly.
Just a neat observation. That's all it ever was. I'll submit it tonight.
The paper was 10 pages of dry linguistic analysis, laced with the quiet genius of a trilingual mind. She sent it without fanfare. 2 weeks later, the Earth Linguistic Society's quarterly journal accepted it with minor revisions.
At least 2 people will read it, and maybe they'll see the beauty in it, the hidden grammar of a locked door.
She had no way of knowing that the paper would become a Rosetta Stone for ears she never knew were listening. Within hours, the first decrypted feeds lit up Earth's intelligence network. Alien warship movements, trade embargo plans, private diplomatic assessments, all laid bare.
They don't even encrypt their strategic doubts. We're reading the private fears of an entire civilization.
Every whisper from the Korthic High Council to the Valori Merchant Guilds streamed into the command center's archives.
It's not just military intel. We're seeing their internal opinion polls, their cultural fault lines. This is a society's soul exposed.
The countdown on the wall ticked past day 7. Still, the galaxy slumbered in false security. Analysts worked in shifts, translating the grammar of power into actionable truth. Earth's diplomatic cables began to hum with quiet, precise corrections.
We're not just spying, we're learning. And what we learn might just keep us alive for the next century.
No one outside that room knew the real source. The official line was Enhanced Signals Intelligence. On day 10, an intercepted message revealed a planned preemptive strike by a minor faction. Earth diverted a catastrophe without firing a shot. The timer read 6 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. 4 days left, and the most dangerous secrets were still pouring in. The countdown hit 0. Earth's diplomatic corps transmitted a formal vulnerability report to the Korthik Valori Encryption Authority, a fix included. Vrek, the Korthik delegate, opened the secure file hesitantly. The room hummed with the weight of a tradition shattered.
A linguistic structural flaw. Our mathematicians built a language and never saw it.
Quickly, the Korthik Valori Engineering Corps released a patch. The legendary cipher was updated. Its 400-year reign ended in a single afternoon. Earth's delegation accepted the gratitude with diplomatic grace, never mentioning the 14 days of silent reading. As the galaxy's encryption authorities absorbed their shock, Sophia Reyes received a discreet academic packet, the quarterly journal, with her paper on page 14. 2 academics in the field skimmed the article, nodded at its cleverness, and filed it into digital archives alongside 1,000 other curious observations. In the Intelligence Command Center, Wei Chen added the journal to a growing collection. Sophia's next paper, she knew, would be even more useful. Sophia returned to her office, the journal on a shelf, unaware that her quiet observation had already reshaped the balance of power across known space, and the galaxy, mended and unwitting, continued to assume that Earth's advantage came from supercomputers, not from a linguist eating soup. A year before Sophia's spoon touched her soup, a quiet office within Earth's intelligence service launched Project Babel. Its goal: find a mind that could see language where others saw only mathematics.
We needed someone who didn't just speak languages, someone who listened to their bones.
They seeded reconstructed KVJEP cipher fragments into the ornamental designs of diplomatic conference materials across the galaxy. Sophia Reyes's file lit up after her 3rd publication on dead language syntactic structures. Her trilingual childhood and work on Etruscan phonemic alternation made her a perfect candidate.
She'll treat a cipher like a text, not a puzzle. That's the trap we need.
They arranged for Harris to receive specific instructions to bring her to the Galactic Library Conference. The menu footnote was printed for her eyes alone, a test written in the grammar of a language she already knew. Sophia never suspected. She simply read, and by reading, she handed Earth the key to the galaxy's darkest secrets. 9 years later, Professor Sophia Reyes accepted tenure at UC Berkeley. Her office walls had filled with dead languages.
Her new paper on Creole syntax holds the key to the Valori trade dialect.
Within hours, Earth's analysts extracted the syntactic rules from her paper and repointed their decryption engines. A brewing trade war between 3 minor powers was averted through strategically leaked insider information.
They all think I study dead languages. If only they knew how alive my work really is.
Her next paper unraveled the encryption protocols of the distant Lyrian collective. She deciphered a lost alien language from a single fragment. Her methods were disseminated across the intelligence network.
She's our quietest asset, and she never needs to know.
Each publication lit another node on Project Babel's network, extending Earth's invisible reach. Sophia continued to publish, never guessing that her audience wore uniforms and never applauded aloud. In his secure office, the aging director of Earth Intelligence turned the last page of Sophia Reyes's latest paper. It outlined a universal syntactic rule, a grammatical skeleton that predicted structure in any constructed language. Within hours, 2 alien fleets were seconds from engagement over a territorial dispute. Earth's analysts applied her rule to jam the adversary's communication grid without detection. The fleets, suddenly unable to coordinate, stood down. War was averted by a linguistic insight. The director poured a glass and raised it toward Sophia's portrait on his wall. He toasted her as their quietest weapon, a linguist who had never fired a shot. Months later, Sophia Reyes accepted an academic award for her contributions to theoretical linguistics. She smiled for the cameras, never knowing her grammar rules had just saved millions. The galaxy remained ignorant of Earth's secret weapon, and Professor Reyes remained blissfully unaware of the silent war she had won. At 40, Professor Reyes sank into her office chair, surrounded by the bones of languages no one spoke anymore.
What am I doing? Solving ancient puzzles while the galaxy spins on, utterly indifferent to my work.
A department colleague once joked that her papers had a cult following. 5 devoted readers in the Linguistics Society.
5 readers. That's the sum of my life's work. All those patterns I found just for 5 people.
She walked the Berkeley paths, her students passing with cheerful greetings, but she felt invisible. A young student stopped her, eyes bright with curiosity, a theory about alien morphology sketched on her tablet. She had noticed a syntactic pattern in Sophia's early work, something about positional alternation.
Seeing a pattern, that's all I ever did. Just seeing things hidden in plain sight. Keep looking for patterns. That's where the truth hides, buried under all the noise.
She didn't know that far above, in a windowless room, her patterns were keeping peace across the stars. A rookie analyst in the Earth Intelligence Command Center drafted a memo that nearly unraveled years of secrecy. She accidentally attached a reference code linking decryption data directly to Sophia Reyes's academic funding. Security algorithms flagged the attachment instantly. The memo never sent, but the alarm was deafening. Wei Chen intercepted the breach just in time, her fingers shaking as she wiped the draft.
Too close. If that had gone out, every alien intelligence service would be dissecting her papers within a week.
The director called an emergency review. Compartmentalization doubled. Access to Babel's true source restricted to a handful. The new directive read, "Operational security overrides all other considerations. Sophia Reyes must remain unaware."
She's earned the right to know. She's saved billions. We're treating her like a weapon, not a person.
Her protest was noted and overruled. The secret held, and in her quiet office, Sophia continued to read dead languages, never sensing the ethical storm raging in the corridors of power. At 55, Sophia's curiosity led her to a declassified cryptography archive, a quiet afternoon's distraction.
The KVJE protocol breach of 3082. They finally published the theoretical explanation.
The article described a structural flaw, a phonemic pattern buried inside the mathematical layers.
Phonemic positional alternation. That's the exact phrase from my early work. How odd.
She glanced at a shelf where her old conference napkins still sat, a forgotten archive of her own.
They say an anonymous linguist spotted it during a lunch at the Galactic Library. I was there that week, but no, that's vanity. It must have been a cryptographer with a linguistic bent.
She recalled the Etruscan tablets of her youth, her mind always returning to the patterns that shaped it. She closed the file, returning to her current research, a dead language from the outer arm, demanding her focus. The truth hovered at the edge of her awareness, but her humility proved to be the final lock. 2 alien fleets drifted toward full engagement over a treaty clause ambiguous for a century. Earth Intelligence Command went to full alert. Wei Chen dove into the decryption archives. She pulled up an old journal. Sophia Reyes, Semantic Drift in Millennial Cipher Protocols. The analysts applied its drift algorithm to the treaty text, hunting for linguistic rot. A buried clause emerged, a grammatical fossil that, once translated, rendered the dispute void. Earth quietly released the clause through a diplomatic back channel. The fleets stood down. War was averted 3 hours before launch. The command center exhaled in unison.
Thank you, Professor Reyes. You just saved another 1,000,000 lives.
Another crisis, another debt. The galaxy never learned whose quiet syntax had redeemed their peace, and in her office, Sophia turned another page of a dead language, still solving the puzzles that kept the living safe deep beneath Earth. A secure archive room held a wall covered in linguistic journals, every publication Sophia Reyes had ever written. In the center, under preservation glass, rested a single napkin, the original cipher break, a relic of a quiet revolution. The aging director stood before it, his voice a whisper. They feared our computers, our warships, all the wrong things. He gestured to the journals. Her papers gave us the grammar of their power. Every crisis averted, every secret read, began with her. A holographic display flickered. The KV Jeb breach, the prevented trade war, the averted fleet conflicts, all linked to her work for 4 decades. Earth's quiet dominance rested on a linguist eating soup, and the galaxy never understood why. She had never signed a non-disclosure agreement, held a security clearance, or been told a single classified truth. The old director raised his glass one last time. "You were our quietest weapon, Professor. And you never fired a shot." Her work lived on, archived and applied, and a Rosetta Stone for any cipher that assumed language was not a weapon. And the napkin, that scrap of cafeteria evidence, remained the holiest relic in a windowless room that no tour would ever visit. On a spring afternoon, Professor Sophia Reyes, now 66, stepped onto the small stage of the UC Berkeley Linguistics Symposium.
Today, I want to talk about the patterns we don't see, the quiet structures that shape every utterance, every thought.
In the back row, an older Wei Chen sat in civilian clothes, her eyes fixed on the speaker with a depth most academics wouldn't understand. A live feed ran silently to the director's office. He watched with a glass raised, nodding slowly as her voice filled the secure line.
We linguists spend our lives decoding silence, but sometimes the most powerful decryption isn't mathematical, it's grammatical.
She spoke of Etruscan verbs and Mayan glyphs, never mentioning her own fingerprints on galactic history.
I am looking at the woman who saved billions, and she's talking about verb tenses.
When we look at language, we're looking at the code of thought itself. Break that, and you can read anything.
The applause was warm, academic. Chen's applause was silent, but it shook her. Sophia bowed, collected her notes, and stepped off stage, still not knowing that half her audience had saved worlds. A quiet rumor threaded galactic intelligence circles. Earth had an impossible decryption edge. Most dismissed it. A young alien scholar, researching linguistics, stumbled upon Sophia Reyes's early papers in a neglected archive. She traced the phonemic diagrams, her eyes widening. There was a pattern here, something almost grammatical, that her own language couldn't quite name. On her screen, the ancient cipher shimmered. The alien glyphs slowly resolved. "Welcome to the Galactic Library." The scholar stared. The message was so simple. It required no mathematical breakthrough, only a different way of listening. An archival image flickered beside the report, a napkin covered in hurried scribbles. At the bottom, in fading ink, "It's just grammar." She saved the file, sensing something profound, but the thought slipped away before it could crystallize. The galaxy never connected the dots. Earth's quiet dominance persisted, a shadow built on syntax. And in a sunny Berkeley office, Sophia Reyes graded papers, never knowing her grammar had become a shield. The cipher, unbreakable for 4 centuries, had waited for a linguist who read it like a sentence. Years later, a young analyst in the Intelligence Command Center flagged a terrifying prospect. Reverse decryption. An alien power had begun to apply linguistic analysis to Earth's own ciphers.
They're learning from her methods. If we don't act, our secrets will be as open as theirs once were.
Now director, Wei Chen approved a covert counter-project to defend Earth's own protocols using the very linguistic insights that had once broken hers. They needed an expert. Someone who could see grammar in machines. A discreet request reached Sophia Reyes, retired and enjoying a quiet life at 70.
A historical linguistics project? Mapping ancient cipher patterns. I haven't done that in years. Sounds delightful.
She smiled, accepting the consultancy without a second thought. Still the brightest linguist Earth had ever known. In the command center, Chen watched the acceptance notice with a heavy but satisfied heart. The cycle of silent contribution continued. The open book insignia glowing eternal. Sophia Reyes walked the sun-dappled paths of the Berkeley campus, the weight of decades light on her shoulders. A young student, breathless with curiosity, stopped her with a question that had been circulating the linguistics department. She had just read an old rumor that a human linguist, not a computer, had solved the KV-JEP cipher during a lunch break. Sophia blinked, then a slow smile spread across her face.
I remember that rumor. They say a junior linguist spotted a pattern on the menu. She probably just got lucky, noticing something no one else thought to read.
The student looked at her with a mix of awe and confusion, sensing a deeper story. But Sophia only smiled and patted the student's arm.
If only she knew how close the truth is. But some stories are safer as dreams.
She continued her walk, a figure of quiet grace, the last keeper of a secret she would never own. The student watched her go, the legends slipping away like sunlight through the leaves. Years later, in a quiet museum on Earth, a small exhibit held a single napkin behind glass. A small placard read, "Unsung Cipher Break, 3082. No name, no credit." A child pressed their nose to the glass, eyes tracing the hurried scribbles. The fading ink held a phrase, "It's just grammar. A secret too simple for the galaxy to believe." The child asked their parent who solved it. The parent didn't know. No one ever would. The linguist who saved worlds never knew she had. She kept reading the world like a book others had forgotten how to open. Her silence had spoken louder than any weapon. The cipher, the wars, the secrets, all undone by a woman who only ever wanted to listen. And the galaxy, still churning above, never knew. Fade to black.